Hi, this is Alimayo Arango of littleguy.cgi.com, and today I want to show you how to model a mech in Blender 2.73. So let's get started. Okay, if this is your first time in Blender, I recommend you go to File, User Preferences, go to Input, and then choose Select with left click. Blender's default select is with right click, and this may confuse you if you're coming from Adobe or other 3D programs. Okay, in Blender there are a few ways to manipulate your view so you can see around your image. One of the most common and useful is you hold the middle mouse button and you can just turn your view as you see me doing here. Another way is to click this navigation tab right here, and then you can just click front, back, left, right, top, bottom. Very nice and very useful. Okay, for this tutorial, you want to click and make sure you're in front mode. You also want to click here where it says View Perspective Ortho, which stands for orthographic. So when you click here, you can see that the grid pattern is very easy to see. Also, if you look in your upper left-hand corner, you can see right here where it says Front Ortho. So it lets us know that we're in orthographic mode. Orthographic mode is very useful for modeling, and this is where we're going to start off. For this tutorial. In Blender also, there's two main modes that you operate in. There's object mode, which you start off in Blender by default, and that allows you to move whole objects around. And then there's edit mode. So if we click here, we can go in edit mode, and this is where most of the work that we'll be doing in this tutorial will be done. Okay, this is actually going to be my second mech tutorial. I grew up as a big mech fan. I was a big Robotech guy as a kid. I was actually very into Japanese animation before it was popular to be into Japanese animation. Also, like what is it? It was Transor Z in the United States. I think outside the United States it was Mazinger or something. But anyway, with this mech design, what we're going to be going for is a more humanoid design than my first mech design. I'll put a link up here so you can get to that one. But I didn't want it to be too humanoid. So just to give you an idea of where we're, which direction we're going towards as far as modeling this mech. Okay, and I told you we're going to spend most of our time in edit mode, which is true. But actually what we're going to do is we're going to start off with another object other than a cube. So we're going to click here, go into object mode. We're then going to, with this selected, we're going to press the X key and then press delete to delete that cube. Now in Blender, generally where your 3D cursor is, which is what this thing is right here, is where objects tend to come in at. So what you're going to do is press Shift A, and then you're going to bring in a cylinder. Now as soon as this cylinder comes in, don't click anything or push anything. And the reason why you don't want to click or push anything is because when you first bring in this cylinder, you have options right here. So right now this thing has basically 32 edges, which we don't need. So we're going to click here and we're going to turn this to 12. Then we'll click here and then it'll kind of lock it in. But you'll see that if we like when we go into edit mode, it's gone. So you just want to set up your edges before you do anything else, so you have those options available to you. Okay, this cylinder that we brought in is going to be kind of the upper body torso part of this mech. So what we want to do is you're going to press R to rotate on the Y-axis 9, 0, and then left click to lock in. Okay, now what you're going to do is press S to scale on the X-axis. See that red line coming out right there? That red line is showing you a preview of, as we scale this, how this particular piece of geometry or mesh is going to scale. So we'll just pull our mouse to bring it out about like that, then left click to lock in. Okay, when you're dealing with object that you're modeling that is basically symmetrical, like this mech is going to be, you can save a lot of time by taking whatever mesh or geometry you're dealing with, cutting it in half, and applying a mirror modifier to it. So that's what we're going to do right now. You see this orange little dot right here? What that is that is your point of origin. Point of origin is very important as far as applying your mirror modifier. And what you want is this point of origin or origin point to be directly in the center as it is here. So what we're going to do is we're going to press Control R. See that purple line that just popped up? That's a preview showing you where this loop cut's going to go. It's a little bit hidden by that, 3D cursor and the origin point there, but you're going to left click once. If you left click one time, you can still move the loop cut you just put in. You're going to left click a second time to totally lock it in. Now what you're going to do is press Z to open up this menu here. You're then going to choose wireframe. I'm going to press A to deselect, and the reason why I did that was because we want to select the vertices here. I'm going to hold my middle mouse button so you can see. We want to select the vertices here and here. However, when I click here to go in the front view, it looks like there's only these vertices here. But when I pull it, you can see there's these vertices here and here. So long story short, wireframe mode allows you to select not just here, but all of this, and that's what we want. So I'm going to click here to go back into front ortho view. And then in Blender, you select things by vertices, edges, and faces, of which you can see and which you can select here. So you're going to go to face select. We're then going to press B for box select. We're going to left click and just drag a little bit past the line right there. With your left mouse button, you're going to let go, and then you're just going to put a push X to bring up your delete menu, and then you're going to choose faces. Okay, so now with that half deleted and our origin point directly in the center, you're going to come over here. I'm going to hold my middle mouse button right here, pull to the side. I'm going to go to what looks like a wrench. This is actually the modifier button. I'm going to click here, click add modifier, and I'm going to go to mirror modifier. And you can see right here what it did was it mirrored this geometry onto the other side of the geometry. Now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to hover my mouse so you can see this. I'm going to put a check mark right here for clipping, and this just means that this side, Blender would try to keep this side from pulling away from this side. So you want to have a check mark there. Then we're going to click here, and this just makes the mirrored side appear like the actual geometry side, or like the side that actually has geometry on it. Okay, now with all that stuff done, we're ready to begin modeling. So what we're going to do is press Z. We're going to choose solid, and that menu popping up, if you're not used to the pie menu, I think it's been out since Blender 2.72. You don't have to use the pie menu. I particularly like it. Like when I press Z and I go to wireframe here, press Z, go back to solid. You can also click here and get to solid and wireframe, just so you know that. Okay, anyway, what we're going to do now is we're going to press O to turn on the proportional edit tool. You can see right here, this blue is the actual controls that you can turn the proportional edit tool on. Instead of just pressing O, I'm going to go to edge select. I'm going to select right here. Whoops, don't want that. I want the center edge right there. And press front view to go back to front. Now what I'm going to do is press G. The reason why I press G is with that proportional editing tool on, when you press G, which allows you to move objects, it also allows you to see your area of influence from your proportional editing tool. So now when I roll my mouse wheel up, roll my mouse wheel down, I can increase the area of influence. This is useful for when you're trying to modify shapes like we're trying to do here. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to pull straight down like this. I'm going to roll my mouse wheel just a little. Maybe not that much. I'm actually rolling it the opposite direction. I'm going to left click to lock in. Okay, what we're going to do now is roll our mouse wheel to zoom in. I'm going to press Control R to put a loop cut in. Because it's mirrored, as soon as I click this, it'll mirror onto the other side. So I'm going to left click one time to lock this in. Left click again to totally lock it in. I'm now going to select here. I'm going to hold shift. Well, actually, before I hold shift, I'm going to hold the middle mouse button to turn the view. I'm going to press Control space to temporarily take away the manipulator. You can also temporarily take away the manipulator by clicking here. I'm going to hold shift and select here. Then I'm going to hold the middle mouse button to turn. I'm going to press G so I can see my area of influence, and then I'm going to press Z. See that blue line? That blue line locked me into the Z axis, and I'm just going to take this up some like this. I'm going to roll the mouse wheel to help me get the shape that I want. Left click to lock in. Okay, what we're going to do now is we're going to click here, click disable to turn off the proportional edit tool. We're going to go to the vertex select here. I'm going to press Control Space to bring my manipulator back. Use it to pull this one vertex up. I'm going to click this vertex and push this vertex down. With these faces here, not vertices, we're going to go to Face Select. I'm going to hold Shift and select these faces. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to grab, see how this is in the front. I'm going to hold the middle mouse button and turn to the back. I'm still holding Shift and I'm selecting here. So we kind of have like an even piece of geometry coming from here all the way to the front, right? So we're eventually going to get rid of this piece of geometry, but first we're going to press E to extrude, left click to lock in. We did that just to make new geometry. We're going to press S to scale, right? We're then going to press E to extrude again, left click to lock in, press S to scale again. That just gives us little pieces of detail onto this thing. So now we're going to press X to delete, bring up our delete menu, then we're going to choose faces to delete those faces we had selected. Okay, so what we're going to do now with face select on, I'm going to hold the middle mouse button to turn to see these faces right here. I'm going to select here, I'm going to hold Shift, select all of these faces here. I'm then going to press E to extrude, left click to lock in, create new geometry. I'm going to press S to scale, left click to lock in. Then I'm going to press E to extrude again, left click to lock in. Press S to scale on the X-axis. See the the red line there showing us a preview of where we're going. I'm going to push in just like this. I'm going to left click to lock in. Okay, now I'm going to press A to deselect. I'm going to roll the mouse wheel to zoom in. I'm going to go to vertex select. I'm going to try to select this vertex right here. It's hard because there's actually two. So we're going to hold Shift in the middle mouse button to pan. Try to see if we can grab the wrong one. So that one is the vertex connected here. We want this one. See how this is in the way? We'll click here to temporarily take that away. Select this vertex, which is the one we want. Click here to bring this back. And then we're just going to pull this up slightly like that. Okay, now we're going to go back to face select. We're going to select these faces again. We're going to hold Shift. Select all these right here. We're going to press E to extrude, left click to lock in, S to scale. Then we're going to press E to extrude, left click to lock in. We're going to take our manipulator and push straight down like this. I think I'm going to press S to scale on the X-axis just to make it look like it's a little bit bigger. And then I'm going to press S to scale on the Y-axis as well. Oh, you can see it coming out the front. Sometimes this is an advantage. You see how I still have this selected and it came out the front? Because I still have that geometry selected, this is actually an advantage because it lets me see how far I am past the front. So I'm going to press S to scale on the Y-axis. See, there's a green line showing me how I'm going to scale. And then I'll just push it so it's in. And this is kind of like the cockpit for our mech pilot in here. Okay, now what we're going to do is roll our mouse wheel to zoom back a little bit. I'm going to hold the middle mouse button to turn so I can see right. I'll use the actual geometry side. With face select on, I'm going to select right here. I'm going to press E to extrude, left click to lock in. I'm going to press S to scale. Scale in just a little. Hold the middle mouse button to turn. With this selected, that face I'm actually going to pull out a little bit. Then I'm going to press E to extrude, left click to lock in, S to scale. I'm going to pull out a little bit more like that. Then I'm going to press E to extrude, left click to lock in, S to scale like this. Then I'm going to press E to extrude, left click to lock in. I'm going to take my manipulator with the faces still selected and I'm going to push in like this. This is where our arms are eventually going to, go into. Okay, what we're going to do now is we're actually going to hold the middle mouse button and turn to the side. I'm going to press Control R to put a loop cut right here. I'm going to left click to lock in, left click again, totally lock it in. One of the things I want you to think about as you deal with this mech is the word duplication. The more that I work with mechanical objects, I realize you can get a lot from duplicating other items, and I think you'll see that as we go through this tutorial. I'm actually going to select right here, and, push out here a little bit. I'll grab here. Push that out some. I think I'm going to press Control R, put a loop cut right here. See that loop cut right there, how it is? I don't particularly like how it's bent like that. So I can left click so it's totally locked in. I can press S to scale on the Z-axis. Is that it? Yep, Z-axis. Then 0, and left click to lock in. It gives me an actual straight line. I'm just going to push this out some here. Maybe it's kind of fun doing the mech stuff because you don't have a, you've got so much stuff going on, you can, play around a little bit. Anyway, I want you to think about duplication, and that's what we're going to do a lot with this. So see this right here? We're going to make kind of like shoulder pads now. It's like this, and actually push this out some. So what we're going to do is go to face select. I'm going to press C for paint select. I'm going to select all of this right here. I'm going to press C for paint select here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to press Shift D, left click to lock in. Now before, when I would do E to extrude, I would create new geometry, but that new geometry was still connected to the old geometry. When I pressed Shift D, what I did was I just made new geometry, but this new geometry isn't connected to this geometry. We're still in the same object in the edit mode of this object, but we have new geometry that's separated from that, and that's good because we can, take our manipulator and now pull this out to the side like this. So we're going to press S to scale this up a little. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to go to Tools, and then to Vertex. Whoops, right click to get out of that. Didn't like what that did. Vertex, there we go. That's what I wanted. Okay, now what we're going to do is press E to extrude, left click to lock in. Now we're going to press S to scale. There we go, that direction, and we'll just pull it up. And I'm just giving this geometry some thickness here. Now I'm going to press, hovering the mouse wheel over this, I'm going to press L. Oh, didn't work. Okay, Control L will let me select this whole part right here. I'm going to push this in some like this. I think I'm going to press S to scale on the X-axis. I'm going to go to Edge Select. I'm going to select here while holding Shift. I'm going to take the manipulator and push up like that. Okay, now we're going to press Control L to select that entire shoulder piece. We're going to press R to rotate on the Y-axis. This. Left click to lock in. We're going to take our manipulator and push this down a little bit. Let's see how this is. Yeah, we got enough space there. Okay, what we're going to do now is we're going to press A to deselect those right there. We're going to press Shift A to bring in a UV sphere. We're going to go to segments, just how we brought the when we brought the cylinder in, we got these options. Same thing, when you first bring a sphere in, you have these options. However, if you start to move or adjust the screen, typically these options disappear. So you want to bring your object in and then set up your what you want, in this case, as far as segments and rings. We're going to click here, select 12, select rings, put 12. I'm going to take the manipulator and push this straight down. Then I'm going to go to Navigation tab. I'm going to go to Front View, and Front Orthographic View. I'm going to press A to deselect. I'm going to press Z to go to wireframe, I'm going to press B for box select. Whoops, I'm going to go to face select. Now I'm going to repress B for box select. I'm going to select that whole top part of the box faces, and again, wireframe mode lets us to grab the faces in front here and the back faces. So now that we have them selected, we'll press Z. We'll go back to solid view, and now we're going to press X, bring up our delete menu, and then choose faces to delete. I'm going to hold the middle mouse button to turn the view. We've got this piece right here. However, it's very paper thin looking. Okay, and the way we're going to deal with that is we're going to roll the mouse wheel to zoom in. I'm going to hold the middle mouse button with Shift to pan up. Roll the mouse wheel to zoom in again. We're going to go to Edge Select. We're going to hold down Alt, and we're going to select on this edge right here. Now, because I'm holding Alt, when I select this edge, I won't just grab this one edge right here. I'll grab this entire edge loop. So there you go. And now with that, what we're going to do is press E to extrude, left click to lock in. We just made new geometry. And since we have that new geometry right on top of the old geometry, we can press S to scale. So now we have, some of our thickness there. So now we're going to left click to lock in there. Now we're going to press E to extrude, left click to lock in. Now we're just going to take our manipulator and push straight down like that. And for now, we'll actually don't want it going too far down. So it's about that far in. Okay, and with that edge still selected, we'll press Control L to select that entire thing. I'm going to roll the mouse wheel back. I think I'm going to press S to scale in the Z axis just to make it a little bit longer. I'll push it up a little bit like that. Remember what I told you about duplication. So what we're actually going to do now is we're going to go to Face Select, select here, hold Shift, and select all of these faces. Let me zoom in. I let go of Shift to zoom in. Now I'm holding Shift and the middle mouse button to pan. Just selecting here again. So I have these faces here, right? I don't know why I grabbed them instead of there, but anyway, I have these faces here. I'm going to press Shift D, left click to lock in. And what I'm going to do with them is I'm just going to, use them to make these faces to make more of the pieces of this mech. So I'm holding the middle mouse button to turn. See that curve we have? I want to take some of that curve out, so we'll go to Options. Whoops. We'll go to Tools. Then we'll go to Smooth Vertex. Took a little bit of the curve out. Now we're going to press S to scale to make it a little bit bigger. And this is probably going to be like a piece of our forearms. We'll see. I'm going to press S to scale on the X axis. Make this wider. Roll the mouse wheel to zoom out. Hold the middle mouse button to turn. S to scale on the X axis. Sometimes it's cold grabbing stuff and seeing what you can make out of it. I'm going to press E to extrude to create new geometry. Left click to lock in. And I'm just going to push this way to give this some thickness. So you can see we kind of have like, the torso part, kind of like some shoulder pad things going in. This will be like where the legs, connect into. So what we're going to do now is I'm actually going to right click over here, and I'm right clicking over here to get away from this center point right here. I'm going to press Shift A, or I can press Shift A to bring a cube, and you can also click here where it says create, and you can select cube from here to bring in a cube also. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go to front view. Remember, all the views are in the navigation tab, which is right here. I'm going to roll the mouse wheel to zoom in. I'm going to hold Shift and the middle mouse button to pan. Roll the mouse wheel to zoom in again. Shift and the middle mouse button to pan. Now I'm going to press Control R to put a loop cut in the top or in the center. Because I click one time, the loop cut is movable. So I'm going to move this loop cut up like that. Left click to lock in. I'm going to press Control R. You can see there's a preview of the loop cut. I'm going to click one time because I clicked one time. The loop cut is movable, so I'm going to take it down like this. I'm going to press Control R, put a loop cut like this. Actually, I have to see the purple line. I'm going to roll the mouse wheel once, and now I have two loop cuts. I'm going to left click to lock in, and then I'm going to press S to scale on the X axis to spread these evenly out to here. Left click to lock in. Okay, now we're going to press A to deselect. We're going to press Control R to put another loop cut in. We're going to left click one time to lock in. Move this up just slightly. Left click to totally lock it in. We're going to press Control R to put another loop cut in. Left click one time so it's still movable. We're going to take it up to about here. Left click to lock in. Left click again, totally locking in. I'm going to hold the middle mouse button and turn around so we can see the back. We're going to go to Face Select, select this face right here. Hold the middle mouse button just to get more of a 3D view. I'm going to press E to extrude. You can see there's a preview line right there showing where it's going to go. Make sure. Okay, I hit Y. Now it's totally on the Y axis. So we'll pull this out about like that. I'm going to hold the middle mouse button and turn back to the front. And I'm going to, with face select on, we're going to select here, hold shift, select here. I'm going to hold the middle mouse button to see the bottom of this. I'm going to hold shift and select here. Okay, now with those faces selected, me hold shift and the middle mouse button to get this more into the screen or towards the center of the screen. Now I'm going to press I for inset. Bring this in about like that. And I'm going to press S to scale on the Y axis. And as I'm scaling on this Y axis, I'm paying attention to this right here. And I'm going to pull this back some just like that. Okay, now we're going to press A to deselect. I'm going to hold the mouse button to get a view of this. Yep, that's how we want it to be. And we're going to select this face right here. We're going to press Shift D, duplicate that part, pull this out a little bit, pull it up a little bit. We're going to press S to scale a little. We're going to press E to extrude on the Y axis. Like that. I'm just going to push this up some. Hold the middle mouse button to zoom back some. Okay. Okay, now what we're going to do is press A to deselect. We're already on face select. We're going to select this face right here. I'm going to hold the middle mouse button so you can see better. I'm going to press Shift D and then left click to lock in. I'm going to take the manipulator and lift this up, push this over, and then push this down a little bit below here. Hold the middle mouse button so we can see that it's actually going below. Pull it in a little bit. Now we're going to press S to scale on the X axis, and this is actually the foot of the robot if you're wondering, what it is, and we'll just shrink it down in a minute or so. So now we're going to press E to extrude on the Z axis. Okay, when I press Z it went away, so we'll just press Z again and it comes back. There's our preview line. We'll just draw it up something like that. Left click to lock in. I'm going to hold the middle mouse button to turn so we can get a better view to see. Okay, so what we're going to do now is press Control L so we select this entire piece of that mesh. We're going to press S to scale on the X axis, make this a little bit wider. Now we're going to press Control R to put a loop cut right here. Left click one time, because we only left clicked one time. We can move this loop cut. So we'll put it there. We'll left click to lock it in. We're going to press Control R to put a loop cut right there. There's our preview. We're going to roll the mouse wheel one time. So now we have two loop cuts. So we're going to left click one time, because we only left clicked once. We still can easily move those loop cuts. So we're going to press S to scale on the X axis and then pull to push them out to about like that. Left click to lock in. Now we're going to go to face select, and we're going to select here. We're going to hold shift, select here and here. We're going to press E to extrude. We can see there's our blue line showing us, the preview of where we're going to go. So let's take it up about like that. Left click to lock in. We're going to press A to deselect. With face select still on, we're going to select here, hold shift and select here. Then we're going to press E to extrude. There's our preview line. We'll just ride that up about like that. Okay, so now we're going to press A to deselect. We're going to go to edge select. We're going to hold the middle mouse button. We're going to select this edge right here. I'm going to press Shift S. which brings up our snap to menu. This is very useful. When I first started modeling, I didn't use Shift S in the snap to menu, but basically when you want to bring an object in, a lot of times it's very useful to press that Shift S after you've selected the general area on the geometry you want to bring something in, and then you just go to cursor to selected. The cursor jumps right to it. So what we're going to do now is we're going to press Shift A. We're going to bring in a cylinder. So there's our cylinder now. It's 32. It's more than I want. So I'm going to take this down to 20. Left click, and we're going to probably use this cylinder shape later on. So what I'm going to do is hit Shift D to duplicate this. Left click to lock in. Take the manipulator and just push this over to the side, kind of out of the way, so we can come back to it later. With this piece here, I'm going to select this edge right here. And I'm going to press Control L, which lets me select the entire thing. And I'm actually going to just push this out so we can clearly see what we're doing. I just rolled the mouse wheel to zoom back. We're going to go to Face Select. We're going to select this face right here. We're going to press E to extrude, left click to lock in. The E to extrude just made new geometry. We're going to press S to scale. Not too much. Let me zoom in so you can see this. I'm going to hold Shift and middle mouse button. Now what we're going to do is press E to extrude. You can see there's our preview lines. We're just going to pull up like that. About like that. Roll the mouse wheel back. I'm going to press E to extrude, left click to lock in, S to scale a little bit more. And I'm going to press E to extrude. There's our preview line. We'll take this up like that. Just like that's good. And now what we're going to do is, with that top part selected, we're going to press Control L to select the entire object. Okay, what we're going to do now is press S to scale. We're going to shrink this down. I'm going to zoom in and push this kind of out of the view so you don't get confused. That's just the mirror, doing the same thing on the other side. I'm going to hold the middle mouse button. I'm going to press S to scale this down some more. Now I'm just taking the manipulator and I'm just using the manipulator to kind of put it in place. I'm just using the 3D view to see where I'm kind of at. Push this over here. And the reason why I am moving it like this is, you see how the manipulator is, it's up and down, in and out, and then, side to side. So typically it tends to be good to, when you have an object like this that you're making, and you want to adjust it, to make your adjustments, which are up and down, in and out, side to side, before turning it. As soon as I turn this, like right here, we have pretty much control of whatever we want to do with this. Now, what we want to do now is we're going to press R to rotate on the X-axis, right? Whoops. So now we're going to take this, put it in here, kind of like that. Now, if we do an adjustment, oops, I'm wrong. We actually want it going under here. So we'll press S to scale, right? Now, see how the manipulator is no longer lined up with like the edges? So that's why you want to make your adjustments, beforehand. And then, like, if you're like, well, if I want to, change things, what you can always do is you can always make a duplicate of this that's in that up position, kind of like we did with this cylinder. And that way you can easily adjust this rather than, struggling with the manipulator. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to hover my mouse over here. I'm going to press A to deselect there. I'm going to press L to select this. And I'm just going to push this down some like this. Hold the middle mouse button to zoom. Okay, so now I'm going to press A to deselect. I'm going to hover my mouse wheel over top of this whole thing right here. I'm going to press Shift D, left click to lock in. Bring this out like that. Okay, and now what we're going to do is hold the mouse button, turn to the side. And by the way, see how this stuff is here, like we're not doing with this right now, and we're going to shrink this. Suppose you want to, you're like, look, this stuff is like kind of in the way. One of the things that you can do is you can actually I'm going to press A, right? I'm going to press A to deselect. I'm going to press Z to go to wireframe. I'm then going to hold B for box select. I'm going to select this entire thing right here, right? Normally if I hit H, this would disappear. I can actually hit Shift H, and then everything other than what's selected, it disappears. So that's a nice, thing to know about. So I'm going to press A to deselect, Z to pop up this menu, and then go back to solid view. So all the other pieces of this mech are still there. They're just hidden. So it just helps us to, concentrate. We could even go as far as like we have the mirror modifier on. So we see this going on. We can actually just click this eye, and then we can just focus directly on this. Because remember what I told you about duplication? What you're going to do now is you're going to press L to grab this piece, and L to grab this piece. You're going to press Shift D. Left click to lock in. We're going to pull this out to the side. Now what we're going to do is press R to rotate on the Z axis 90. Left click to lock in. We're going to pull this back just like this. Then we're going to press S to scale. Push this in like this. Lift it up a little bit. Maybe we'll scale it up a little bit bigger. Okay, now what we want to do is duplicate this so this is on the other side. So what we're going to do is press Shift D. I'm going to move my mouse just so I know here's a duplicate. I'm going to right click so it jumps back. To flip this around or mirror it, you can click Mesh and then go to Mirror. Screen capture, there you go. And you can click X local and it will flip it. I tend to like, though, S to scale on the X axis, -1. To flip things around. So I'm going to hold the middle mouse button and turn the side a little bit. I'm going to take my manipulator and just push like this. And you can actually flip it if any of you guys have done my modeling of the male and female tutorial, you know that this is pretty much what I do for eyes. See how this has this weird looking color on it? Like here's the gray and here's this. This is because the normals typically get for lack of a better word, confused when you mirror something or when you scale on the x-axis -1 like I did. And normally if you press Control N, it'll fix it. And you see how that like weird shading went away. If by some chance you're working with something and that doesn't fix it, hit W, which brings up your specials menu, and then go to the flip normals, and that'll tend to flip it. So pull this in a little bit closer. All right. Hold the middle mouse button just to take a look at what we have here. Now I'm going to press A to select everything, right? I'm going to press Shift. Whoops. Now I'm going to press, Alt H to bring everything back. I'm going to turn on the mirror modifier. Let me press A to deselect everything. I'm going to press Z for wireframe. I thought that I could select it and then, bring back the stuff that was hidden. It wouldn't be selected, but no big deal. I'm going to press B to select all of this right here. I'm going to press S to scale this down some. Roll back so we can see what's going on. As it scale down a little bit more, I'm going to press Z to go to solid mode. I'm going to pull this in here. Rolling the mouse wheel in to zoom in. Holding Shift and the middle mouse button to pan. And I'm basically getting this, trying to visualize like where this will be at as this thing develops. Okay, so we're going to press A to deselect. We're going to select this cylinder. We're going to press Control L to select the entire thing. We're going to press Shift D, left click to lock in. Pull out the duplicate. We're going to, with face select on, we're going to select this top face. I'm going to roll the mouse wheel to zoom in, hold the Shift and the middle mouse button. The pan, roll the mouse wheel to zoom in again. I'm going to press E to extrude, left click to lock in, S to scale. E to extrude, there's our preview line. Take this up like this. We're going to press E to extrude, left click to lock in, S to scale, E to extrude. And I know I'm speaking fast, there's just a lot to cover. There's actually, I've used it quite a lot. There's actually a button on YouTube in the options. If you're on an actual desktop computer or laptop computer, you can actually click the button to slow down YouTube videos, and not only will they slow down, they actually slow down the speed. So people sound hilarious slowed down, but it helps if they're going through something pretty quickly. Anyway, I just wanted to have another one of these that we can grab and pull from that wasn't turned like the other ones. We're actually gonna select here again, press Control L, left click the lock. Whoops, we didn't duplicate. We're gonna press Shift D, left click the lock in, and then take the duplicate out. And I'm gonna roll in. I'm gonna hold Shift and middle mouse button to pan. Roll in a little bit more. Okay, so now what we're going to do is press A to deselect. We're going to press Control R to put a loop cut right there. We're going to roll our mouse wheel one time, left click one time. We're going to press S to scale on the Z axis. Because we only left click one time, we can move those loop cuts. So we're going to bring them a little bit closer together. We're going to left click the lock in. We're going to go to phase select. We're going to hold Alt. The reason why we're holding Alt is it's going to allow us to select this entire loop. So we're going to select here. We're going to press E to extrude. Left click the lock in. Now we have new geometry because we extruded. So that allows us to be able to scale in like this. So left click the lock in. So what we're going to do now is we're going to select this face right here. When we selected it, that automatically deselected here. Sometimes you want to have something be exactly the same as like another piece of the same object. So if this was a mirror, we had it turned to our side, whatever we did here would be mirrored to this side, right? One way to have things be the same and get around that is to use, I'm trying to think of the best way to describe direct input. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit E to extrude, left click to lock in, right? So we have our extrusion. So now if I hit S and pull this in, this will come in, whatever scale that it does. I won't know exactly what it is. However, what I can do is I can press S to scale, and then I can press 0.5 and then left click to lock in. And what that 0.5 is in Blender, that's actually like saying 50%. So scale in, I guess, 50% of the surface here. And this, as we push in, I'm not too concerned about the depth of that. So anyway, I'm going to press E to extrude, left click to lock in. Now we have new geometry. It allows us to push this in. But now I'm going to hold the middle mouse button. I'm going to press A to deselect, A to, again, I selected everything just because I want to make sure that when I hit A, yet again, nothing is selected. I'm going to select this right here. I'm going to press E to extrude, left click to lock in. Now I'm going to press S to scale. And then I'm going to press 0.5 and then left click to lock in. So remember, in Blender, if you're doing things, it's, that 0.5 is actually 50%. At least I believe it's 50%. But anyway, it makes sense. You're going to press E to extrude, and we can see our preview line right there. We'll just take this in somewhat like that. And hold the middle mouse button to turn the view. I'm going to press A to deselect. Okay, and you can see we're building up a little collection over here. We're actually going to, let me press A to make sure everything is, okay, selected. A again to make sure everything's deselected. We're going to press L. We're going to press Shift D to duplicate this. Pull this out to the side with the manipulator. I'm going to select the top face. I'm going to press E to extrude, left click to lock in, S to scale. Now, roll the mouse wheel, hold Shift and the middle mouse button so you can see what's going on. I just did that to pan in. I'll pull this up a little bit. And I'm going to press E to extrude, left click to lock in, S to scale. Now I'm going to press E to extrude. There's our preview line. I'm just going to ride this up. Roll the mouse wheel back. I'm going to press A to deselect. I'm going to press Control R to put a loop cut in. I'm going to roll one time. Left click to lock in. Only left click one time, so that means my loop cuts are easily movable. I'm going to press S to scale on the Z axis to scale them together. Left click to lock in. I'm going to go to face select. We have a loop cut here and a loop cut here. That means we have a loop of faces here. So we're going to hold Alt, select that whole loop of faces. We're going to press E to extrude, left click to lock in. And we're going to press S to scale out those faces. And I'm going to press S to scale on the Z axis to bring this in some. Then A to deselect. So just another piece for us to use. And now we're going to start building up kind of like the skeleton of this thing. Okay, so actually what we're going to do now is we're going to go here. We're going to press A to deselect that right there. We're going to hover our mouse over this, press L. We're going to press Shift D to duplicate it. I'm going to hold the middle mouse button. It's funny when you don't have like a 3D view, you can get lost very quickly. So you got a lot of times hold the middle mouse button, see that? To see, you know, what's going on in your 3D view. Roll the mouse wheel to zoom in. I'm going to hold Shift and the middle mouse button to pan. Hold the mouse button to rotate, and then roll it to zoom out. I'm going to press S to scale. Here, pull this back some. I'm going to press R to rotate on the X-axis to rotate this. Somewhat like that. I'm going to press Alt-S to make this a little bit skinnier. Take the manipulator and just push it there. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to press A to deselect there. Hover our mouse wheel here, press L to select this right here. Press Shift D to duplicate it, left click to lock in. Pull the duplicate out to the side. Okay, and just so you know, as we're going through this stuff, our main thing is we're trying to get the basics in. Once we have the basics in, we can, you know, change the shapes of things and the scale. Kind of like, that's when you get to have like a lot of fun, I think, is once the basics are in. So we're going to press S to scale. Left click to lock in. I'm going to roll the mouse button to zoom in. I'm going to hold Shift and the middle mouse button to pan. I'm going to press S to scale. Take the manipulator, push this down. I'm going to press S to scale on the Z axis. Again, do I want that? Yeah, it's like that. I'm going to press R to rotate on the X axis. This. Kind of like putting this part right on the end part there. Okay, so now we're going to press Z, go to wireframe, then we're going to go to box select by pressing B, select all this. We'll press Control L just to make sure we have everything. We're going to push this down some. I'm going to roll the mouse wheel to zoom out. Okay, now we're going to press S to scale. I'm going to take the manipulator and push the legs a little bit closer towards each other. Bring them forward some. Press S to scale. Maybe S to scale a little bit bigger. Just rotating. I'm going to press Z to go to solid view. I know we have those pieces there. I want them to distract you. It's kind of like that infrastructure we're building here. Okay, I'm going to hold Shift and the middle mouse button to pan. Let's grab this. We're going to press A to deselect. Hover our mouse over this and press L. Actually, let me press Shift D, left click to lock in and take a duplicate of it. If you guys get any cool ideas from this, let me know. I came up with the idea of kind of just leaving stuff to the side while I was making this, because I was like, why am I just moving? I keep using the same parts, so if I have them there, they're easy to deal with. I'm going to press A to deselect there. I'm going to press L to select this to push this temporarily out of the way. Press L, whoops, press A to deselect everything, press L to select this. Push this down and press S to scale. I'm going to press, I'm going to grab this. I'm going to press A to deselect, L to select here, Shift D, left click to lock in. Bring this over here. Press S to scale. Remember the mirror modifier is doing everything on that side, so don't let that get to you. Rolling with the middle mouse button, holding shift and the middle mouse button to pan. Rolling with the middle mouse button again. Just pulling this in closer. Not too close though. I'm going to press A to deselect, L to select here. Push this down. There. I'm just looking at it. Thinking that this might have to be longer. I'm going to press A to deselect. Okay, so what we're going to do is, shift and the middle mouse button to pan. I'm going to press Z to go to wireframe mode. I'm going to press B for box select. I'm going to grab right here. I'm going to press Control L to make sure everything is totally grabbed. I'm going to push this down, so I'm going to press S to scale to make this bigger. Whoops. Push it away. Push it back something like this. I'm going to go to press Z to go to solid view. Select right here. Pull this back and up some. I'm going to press Z for wire, B for box select, Control L to select everything. Push this wider. Push that up something like that. I'm going to go to A to press A to deselect. I'm going to press L to select here, L again to select there. I'm going to push this out to the side some like that. I'm going to press A to deselect. I'm going to press Z for solid, so it's easier to see for you guys. I'm going to press L here, L here. I'm going to lift this up some. Press A to deselect, L here. Pull this up some. I'm going to press S to scale to make this somewhat bigger. I'm going to press A to deselect. Now these parts, which I don't want them, I'm going to press L here. Okay, I'm going to select the vertice here. I'm going to hold shift. I'm going to select the vertice here, and then I'm going to press Control L. Basically what does happen there is if you select a vertice or a face and press Control L, you can grab the entire object that you're trying to grab. I'm going to take this and push this straight up. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to grab, well, before we do that, we're going to, with this selected here, we're going to press R to rotate on the Y axis 90, left click to lock in. We're going to pull this up. Just make these arm parts easier to deal with. We're going to select this right here. We're going to press A to deselect. We're going to press L right here. We're going to press R to rotate on the Y axis to tilt these up some. And we're just going to drag these up some like that. There we go. Okay, now what we're going to do is roll the mouse wheel to zoom back. I'm going to press shift and the middle mouse button to pan. I'm going to hold the middle mouse button to turn. I'm going to press A to deselect. I'm going to hover my mouse right here and press L. I'm going to press Shift D, left click to lock in, drag this out, press R to rotate on the Y axis, 9, 0, and I'm actually going to press Shift D, get another duplicate of those. I'm going to press A to deselect, actually L to reselect here, and zoom in so you can see what's going on. Press S to scale. Hold the middle mouse button to get a 3D viewpoint so you can see where I'm trying to move this to. I'm going to press R to rotate on the Z axis, 9, 0. Left click to lock in. Holding the middle mouse button just to change the view. Just kind of pushing these joints roundabout into place. Rolling the mouse wheel to zoom out. Shifting the middle mouse button to zoom out. A to deselect. L to select right here. Pushing this up and in here. As the scale, I'm going to press Shift D, left click to lock in, Shift D just to duplicate right there. I'm just taking the manipulator, holding the middle mouse button to change the view so I can see, like, what's going on. That's the scale. I'm actually going to press A to deselect, press L to select here. I'm going to press X to delete the faces because I want this to be the same size actually. So I'm going to press L, Shift D, left click to lock in, push this down, and then position here. A to deselect, I'm going to press L here, press Shift D, left click to lock in, pull this to the side here. This up some here. Press A to deselect, L to select right here, push this to the side here. I'm going to press A to deselect, I'm going to press L to select right here. I'm going to press A to deselect. Going to hover my mouse here, L to select there, Shift D to duplicate, take the manipulator and push this down. And then the parts that don't kind of make total sense, the way we're going to do this, a lot of this will be hidden. This is kind of going to be, we're going to put like a, I guess you would call it a housing over this, and then there's going to be parts where you can actually look in and pretty much kind of like see what's going on. I'm going to press Shift and the middle mouse button to pan. I'm going to press A to deselect there. I'm going to press L to select this, press Shift D, left click to lock in, go back here. Whoops, Control Z. In this case I did Control Z just to reselect that. I'm going to press R to rotate on the X axis and just flip this like this. Just looking at it. We're going to the face select the face right here. We're going to press Shift D, left click to lock in, pull this face out here. We're going to press E to extrude, ride right along the extrusion line right there. Press L. We're going to take this the manipulator and kind of push it into place here. We'll grab right here, push it aside. I guess it doesn't look quite right. Let's go to edge select. Sorry for mumbling. My brain is. It starts, you know, it's interesting how the human brain works. You know, it's like when you can tell when I'm like concentrating. It's amazing the things that I've learned from doing tutorials. Like sometimes I'm like, oh, it's not going how I kind of thought. Then other times I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so much better than I planned. I'm gonna grab here, push this in here. I'm gonna take this piece here. I'm gonna press Control L, Shift D to duplicate. Notice, remember I told you that whole duplication theme? You can kind of see it running here. I press R to rotate on the X-axis for this. And click here. Drag out here. Push this. Whoa. Bring that down. Sometimes Blender does that. Go off the edge of the screen. Don't ask me why. I think Blender does it. Maybe I'm doing it. I don't know. I'm going to press L, grab here. Okay, we're going to press A to deselect. It's coming along. Press Shift and the middle mouse button to pan. For now, I'm going to press L, H to hide that. I'm going to press L and H to hide this. I'm going to select here. I'm going to press Shift S, cursor to selected. Then I'm going to press Shift A. I'm bring in a plane. I'm going to press R to rotate on the Y axis. Wait a second. R to rotate on the Y axis, 9, 0. I'm going to press Control Space. Come on here. Where's my manipulator? There it goes. Okay. Push this out here. And I'm going to press W to subdivide. I'm going to go to vertex select. Push this down a little. I'm just going to make this a little bit less square. Like that. I'm actually going to press A to deselect. I'm going to press, whoops, A to deselect. I'm going to select the vertex on there. I'm going to press Control L to select this entire thing and move it over somewhat. Okay, now with that done, I'm going to press A to deselect. I'm going to go to Phase Select. Hold Shift, select all these phases here. Hold the middle mouse button to turn. I'm going to press E to extrude. Right it on that Y axis. I'm going to press S to scale. I'm going to press S to scale on the Y axis. And I'm going to press E to extrude, X axis, one extrusion, E to extrude again, right out here, and then E to extrude about half as much as those ones there. Now I'm going to press X to delete these faces. If you guys have done some of my other tutorials where I show you how to model hands, this will be very familiar to you. You're going to press K to bring up the knife tool. You're going to click one time here, click one time here, one time here, and then one time here, and then press Enter to lock that in. I'm going to hold the middle mouse button to rotate this view. I'm going to, oh, these things are in the way, huh? It's kind of interesting. So, because I'm rotating the view, see how this is like kind of getting in the way? So, it looks so dark there. Anyway, okay, this is fine. So we're going to press Press A to select everything, A again just to deselect everything. Actually, the shading on this looks weird. I'm going to press L to select that. I'm going to press Control N to recalculate the normals. There we go. That's why it was looking weird. I'm going to press K to bring up the knife tool. I'm going to put one click here, pass all the way over to here. The first one we only went 2 faces in. This one it's 3 faces in. Come over here, left click, come down here and left click, and then press Enter to lock it in. I'm going to hold the middle mouse button to rotate the other way around. Okay, now with vertice select on, I'm going to select this vertice here. I'm going to hold shift, select this vertice, and this vertice here. Have a vertice selected down there. To get rid of that, I'm going to press C, hold the middle mouse button, and when you hold the middle mouse button after pressing C for paint select, you deselect things, which is nice. These 4 vertices are still selected. I'm going to press F to fill that right there. Go right here. Now I'm going to hold shift and select here, here, and here. I'm going to press F to fill that in. I'm going to select here, 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 and here. Hold the middle mouse button just to adjust to make sure I didn't have those 4 vertices. I'm going to press F there. I'm going to select here, hold shift here, here, and here. Press F to fill that in. Okay, so we're going to press A to deselect. Now we're going to press Control R, put a loop cut right there. We're going to left click one time, which means we can still move that loop cut. We're going to move it down like this, left click to lock it in. Now with this, we have our 4 vertices set up for here, so we're going to select there. While still being on vertice select, we're going to hold shift, select here, here, and here. Press F to lock it in, hold the middle mouse button to rotate. I'm going to press A to deselect there. I'm going to select here while holding shift here, here, whoops, crap, here. I have an extra vertice I selected by accident, so I'm going to do C for paint select, hold the middle mouse button to deselect it. Right click to get out of paint select, then I'm going to press F for there. Okay, now with this, which these are going to start to be fingers, I'm going to press C for paint select. Whoops, I'm going to face select first. Select all of this right here. Right click to get out of paint select. Okay, now what I'm going to do is click here. We could also press O to go here to turn on the proportional editing tool. Oops. We're going to click enable. Then we're going to press G to see how big our area of influence is. We're going to press S to scale and the Z axis. Just get a little bit better shape of what's going to be our hand. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to click here, turn this pivot point from Blender's default pivot point, which is the medium point, to individual origins. We're also going to press, actually we're going to reset, we're going to select here, hold shift and select all of these. Then we're going to press Alt E to bring up our extrude menu. We're going to choose individual faces. We're going to pull out just a little bit, left click to lock in, press S, oops, we need to turn this off. We're going to click here, click disable, we're going to press S to scale. And because we set up the individual faces and this pivot point, that's why when we scale this now, normally if we didn't do this, right here where we change it to individual origins and the extrude individual faces, when we had these all selected and we scaled down, it would all scale as one. But because we put on individual origins and scaled it down, it separated like this, which is a nice setup for fingers. So a little bit different about what we're going to do here compared to like a normal organic hand is we're going to press Shift D to left, then left click to lock them in. We're going to take these faces out to about here. Then we're going to hit E to extrude, ride this out about here. Left click to lock in. If you hear anything like wild going on in the background, like animal noises, we have two new small cats, and we have our other cat that's been here for a while, and they're having like some interesting cat, things going on there in the background, trying to I guess, hold on to whatever territory or whatever it's interesting. Anyway, uh, what we're going to do now is with these faces selected here, we're going to press Control L to select all of this. We're going to press Shift D, left click to lock in. Take this out to about here. We're going to press Shift D to duplicate, not kit, and bring this forward here. Okay, and what we're going to do now, it's kind of wide. So I'm going to actually hit Z, go to wireframe. Okay, what I'm going to do now is just roll the mouse wheel back some. I'm going to hold Control and the right mouse button. Actually, I have this selected. I'm going to push this back a little bit closer to here. Now I'm going to hold Control and the right mouse button and select right here. Push this a little bit closer, like that. Okay, what I'm going to do now is press A to deselect. I'm going to press Z to go to solid mode. I'm going to select right here. I'm going to click here to turn on enable for proportional edit. I'm going to press G, and then I'm going to press S to scale. You can see that the front parts of the fingers are smaller and narrow than the wider parts, which is what we want, which is pretty cool. Left click to lock in. I'm going to press A to deselect. I'm going to click here, select disable to turn off that proportional edit tool. I'm going to press Z for go to wire select. I'm going to press hold Control, hold the right mouse button, and select all of these right here. Take the manipulator and push these in like that. Press A to deselect. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to press Z, go to solid. I'm going to hold the middle mouse button to rotate. I'm going to select right here. I'm going to press E to extrude, pull out slightly, press S to scale. I'm going to press Shift D to duplicate. Take the manipulator, pull this out some. I'm going to press E to extrude. Let that ride out right there. I'm going to press Shift D, duplicate, pull this out, E to extrude, left click to lock in. I'm going to press Control L. I didn't realize it was that much distance. There's L here. Push that back over there. Okay, I'm going to press A to deselect. I'm going to hover the mouse here. I'm going to press L. I'm going to press Shift D, left click to lock in. I'm going to hold the middle mouse button to turn. I'm going to take this duplicate, put it right here. Press S to scale. Roll the mouse wheel to zoom in. I'm going to hold Shift and the middle mouse button to pan. Roll the mouse wheel to zoom in. Hold the middle mouse button to turn. I press S to scale. There we go. I'm going to press Shift D. Left click to lock in. Take this duplicate. Put it up there. Press Shift D. Left click to lock in. Now I'm going to hover the mouse wheel here. Press L and L. As I hovered over them to select all of them, I'm going to press Shift D to duplicate that. Take the manipulator and just push over like this. I'm going to press S to scale slightly, very slightly. Press S to scale on the Y axis. I'm going to press Shift D, left click to lock in. Push these over here. I'm going to press Shift D one more time. Push these over here. Now I'm just going to go back and adjust these. I'm going to hover my mouse here, press L, take the manipulator, adjust that, press A to deselect, L over here, Take the manipulator to adjust this. I'll press S to scale on the Y axis to shrink it a little bit. I'll press A to deselect, L here. Push this over. A to deselect, L here. Whoops. L there. There we go. I'm going to press A to deselect. I'm going to hold shift and the middle mouse button to pan. I'm going to hover my mouse here. I'm going to press L, shift D to duplicate. Mouth. Anyway, I'm going to press R to rotate on the Z axis 90. Left click to lock in. Push this down with the manipulator. Push this in. S to scale. Just taking a manipulator and adjusting this to, for the most part, fit in there. I'm going to press Shift D. Left click to lock in. For the duplicate. S to scale. There we go. Okay, we're going to press A to deselect. We have our hand now, except it is huge. We're going to hold the middle mouse button, turn to the side. We're still on our pivot point for individual origins, which we don't want to leave it on here because we're used to having the pivot point be on Blender's default pivot point, which is the medium point. So let's change it back to that. We're going to press Z to go into wireframe mode. We're going to hold down Control, hold down our right mouse button. We're going to grab and select the hand, the entire thing. Then we're going to press S to scale. Take our manipulator, push it back some. Let's take a look at this thing. Let's go to solid view. Yeah, we're going to leave them like that. That size for now. Okay, and I can see now that I actually have the hands with the thumbs being rotated the wrong way. We can deal with this. I'm going to zoom in so you can see. By with the hands selected, we can go to Mesh, Mirror, X Local, left click to lock in. Then we're going to press R to rotate on the Z axis and just spin the hands like there. The hands, typically when you mirror something or do S to scale on the X axis -1, your normals get confused. So you're just going to press Control N to recalculate your normals. So just holding the middle mouse button to turn, holding Shift and the middle mouse button to pan, rolling the middle mouse button to zoom in. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to press A to deselect. We're going to start building type of housing to go over this. So I'm going to hold Shift and middle mouse button to pan. I'm going to roll my mouse wheel to zoom in. I'm going to select here. I'm going to press Shift S, cursor to selected. I'm going to press Shift A. I'm going to bring in a cube. I'm going to push this cube to the side a little bit. I'm going to press S to scale on the Y axis. I'm now going to press Control B to bevel this cube when I pull. Like that. I'm now going to press Control L. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to press Control R to put a loop cut in it. I'm going to roll the mouse wheel one time. And then I'm going to left click in one time. I'm going to press S to scale on the Z axis to spread these loop cuts out a little bit. Then left click to lock in. I'm going to press L to select this entire thing. I'm going to pull this over here. Actually, before doing that, let me push this back. I'm going to press Shift D so we have one that is on an easy angle for us to manipulate. I'm going to press A to deselect there. I'm going to roll my mouse wheel in to zoom in. I'm going to press L. I'm going to pull to the side here. Hold the middle mouse button to turn. I'm going to press R to rotate on the X axis here. R to rotate on the X axis a little bit more. Take the manipulator, push this down some. And press S to scale to make that a little bit bigger. Okay, and now with that done, we're going to press Control R. We're going to put in 2 loop cuts here. We're going to left click the lock in one time. We're going to press, that's the scale. Pull out a little bit like that. I'm going to press A to deselect. Okay, and with that done, what we're going to do is we're going to go to face select. We're going to select right here. I'm going to roll the mouse wheel in so you can see better. I'm going to hold shift and middle mouse button to pan. We're going to select here. We're going to press X. Bring up our delete menu and choose faces to delete the faces, and that just lets us be able to see inside there a little bit. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to press A to make sure nothing is selected, or everything is selected, and A to make sure nothing's selected. We're going to press L to select this right here. Okay, and with these 2 pieces selected, we're going to press Shift D, left click to lock in, take our manipulator and push straight down. Then we're going to press R to rotate on the X axis like this. We're going to press S to scale on the X axis. That. Just pushing this. I'm looking. See this right here? I want to have this piece right here, like right over that face, right? So that's what I'm doing with the manipulator. So I'm going to select this face here. I'm going to press X, delete that face. So it kind of, you can see that machinery like coming through there. I'm just holding the middle mouse button, just looking around now. Just roll the mouse wheel to zoom back. Okay, now we're going to roll the mouse wheel to zoom back. I'm going to go right here. I'm going to press A to select everything, A to deselect everything. I'm going to press L. I'm going to press Shift D, left click to lock in. And I grabbed them instead of these because the arms are straight out. So I figured it'd be easier to just take this up, get it into position by rotating it, 90 degrees. Now I'm just rotating the view to get enough 3D-ness in my view so I can see what's going on. Okay, I'm going to press R to rotate on the Y axis, 90, left click to lock this in. I'm going to pull this up, take the manipulator, push it this way, roll the mouse wheel to zoom in, hold shift and then middle mouse button to pan down. Okay, I'm going to press A to deselect here. I'm going to hold my mouse over here. I'm going to press L to select this. I'm going to press Shift D to duplicate this piece of mesh right here, left click to lock in, and to drag this right over here like that. I'm going to press A to deselect, hover my mouse over here, press L to select there, press Shift D to duplicate, left click to lock in, drag this over here, push this forward with the manipulator. I'm just looking at it now. Okay, I'm going to press A to deselect. I'm going to hold Alt. We're on face select. I'm going to select here to select this ring of faces. I'm going to press S to scale up. Left click to lock in. I'm going to press E to extrude. Left click to lock in. S to scale up a little bit more. And S to scale on the X axis like this. Left click to lock in. Now what I'm going to do is press Control L to select the entire thing. I'm going to press S to scale on the Y axis like this. I'm going to press A to deselect. I'm going to hold my mouse over here, press L, push this up some. I'm going to hold the middle mouse button to turn. With face select on, I'm going to select this face right here. I'm going to press X to bring up my delete menu. Choose faces to delete. I'm going to press A to select everything, A to deselect everything just to make sure nothing's selected. I'm going to press L and I'm going to pull this forward a little bit. Hold the middle mouse button and turn. I'm going to select this face right here. Press X to bring up the delete menu. Select faces to delete. Okay, what I'm going to do now is hold the middle mouse button and turn. Just to take a look, hold the middle mouse button and turn back. I'm going to press A to select everything, A to deselect everything. I'm going to hold the mouse over here. I'm going to press L. I'm going to push this in here. I'm going to push this way. I'm going to press S to scale on the X axis. Pull this in here. Just looking, I'm just moving the manipulator look. I'm actually going to press A to deselect. I'm going to hold the mouse over here. I'm going to press L. I'm going to press Shift D, which duplicated that. Taking the manipulator and pushing it this way. And I'm going to press A to deselect, A to select everything, A to deselect to make sure everything is deselected. I'm going to hold L to select this, push this way, press S to scale on the X axis. Like this. I'm going to select this face here, press X to bring up the delete menu, select faces to delete. I'm going to select, roll in so you can see what's going on. I'm going to press A to deselect, select this face, press X to bring up the delete menu, choose faces to delete. I'm going to hold the mouse over here, press L, try to pull this back. So there we go, like that. Okay, what we're going to do now is press A to deselect there. We're going to hold Shift and the middle mouse button to pan. We're going to roll the mouse wheel in the zoom in. I'm going to hold Shift and the middle mouse button to pan again. I'm going to go to Edge Select. I'm going to select right here. Get a top view. Press G up. To turn that proportional editing tool on, I'm going to press circle to do that. I'm going to press G to see my proportional edit. It's too big, so I'm going to roll the mouse wheel to shrink it down. I'm going to press Y and pull the chest piece of this out and roll the mouse wheel to control the fall off or the proportional edit, how much it pulled. There. I'm going to press G, shrink this down, press Y and push it in just a little bit. Okay, you're now going to press O to turn off your proportional editing tool. You're going to press A to deselect right there. You're going to hold your mouse right here and press L. You're going to press S to scale on the X axis like this. Then you're going to press S to scale to make the whole thing a little bit bigger. Push this down some. Then we're going to press S to scale on the Y axis like that. And we'll go to Edge Select. We'll select right here. Hold the middle mouse button to turn. Hold the middle mouse button to turn again. I'm going to press O to turn the proportional edit tool back on. Press G so I can see the area of influence. Z so it's on a Z axis and pull up some like this. I'm going to press Control R to put in one loop cut. Left click to lock in. Control R. Two loop cuts here. Now I'm going to select here, press G, and then Z, and then move up some. Roll the area of influence. I'm going to select this vertex right here. Take the manipulator and just pull up some. And I press A to deselect, L to select right here. I'm going to press S to scale. Whoops. I'm going to press O to turn off the proportional edit tool. I'm going to press S to scale on the Z axis to bring that down just a little. I'm going to press S to scale to make these up a little bit more. Okay, we're going to press A to deselect there. We're going to hover our mouse here, press L, press S to scale on the X axis here. left click to lock in. I'm going to hold shift and the middle mouse button to pan. Okay, now we're going to press A to deselect. We're going to press hover our mouse over here, press L, press shift D, left click to lock in. We're going to press R to rotate on the Y axis. Put that in there like so. R to rotate on the Z axis. Roll the mouse wheel just to get a better look. Holding shift and the middle mouse to pan. I'm going to press shift D to duplicate that. I'm going to pull this up. I'm going to press R to rotate on the Y axis to flip this like this. Push this down like that. I'm going to press R to rotate on the Z axis. Twist some. I'm going to press A to deselect, hold over the one in the back, the shape in the back, mesh in the back, or geometry in the back. Brain's struggling to say. Press R to rotate on the Z axis. We're gonna go to face select these, roll in so we can see these faces here and here. I'm gonna press X to bring up our delete menu. Select faces to delete. What in the world? Select here again. Press X. Face to delete. I guess there was double faces there, so. Roll the mouse wheel to zoom back. Okay, what we're going to do now is we're going to hold shift and the middle mouse button to pan. We're going to roll the mouse wheel to zoom in. We're going to select here, press Control L. We're going to press H to temporarily hide this. We're going to go to vertice, select the vertice here, 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 here. Press Control L. Select the vertice there. Press Control L. Up here, here. Because then when you grab a vertice of a piece of a mesh or geometry, and you press Control L, it'll select pretty much everything. So we're gonna press Control L again, and now we have it. Oh no, we don't. Select here. Control L. Now we're going to press S to scale. Rotate the mouse wheel just to see how this is looking. Alright, so now we're going to press Alt H. Now we're going to press A. It looks much better. That's what I mean. When you start getting the basics in there, you can play with the, the sizes, and it's amazing what you can do. Just a little push here, a little bit of scale there. Okay, what we're going to do now is some hard surface modeling, and what that is we're going to put a subdivision surface on this model. It'll make areas like this smooth, but the techniques that I'm going to show you how to use are going to keep the areas like the hydraulics will have hard edges on them. So pretty cool look. And from this having softer lines and this having harder lines, it actually, the contrast actually makes these pieces look even more dramatic. So First thing we have to do is select everything that we want to have hard edges. So L is very nice because we can just hover and, you know, pretty much grab everything that we want to have a hard edge. I'm just holding my mouse. I'm just pressing L repeatedly. So L here, L, L. L here, L here. I'm going to roll the mouse wheel to zoom back. I'm going to hold shift and the middle mouse button to pan. Hold shift and the middle mouse button again. For this hand right here, what we're going to do is press Z to go into wireframe. We're going to press B for box select. We're going to select all of this right here. Since we have this touching here, we should be able to press Control L and grab that, which is good. We're going to press Z to go back to solid mode. We're going to hover our mouse here and press L, L, and hold shift. Just taking a look around. Let me zoom in here. Press L, see if we can get that. I'm going to hold shift and try to select, I'll go to face select, I'll select this face. Now I'm going to press Control L. So I was able to grab that. Okay, what we're going to do is roll the mouse wheel to zoom back. I'm going to press the N key to bring up our properties menu. And you see this right here where it says mean crease? What we're going to do is we're going to press Shift E, and what Shift E is going to do is it's going to allow us to adjust the mean crease and change it from 0 to 1 on all areas we have selected. So Shift E again is just a shortcut for mean crease, and when you pull it, it just adjusts this mean crease. And adjusting the mean crease is a way to keep edges hard even when you have a subdivision surface on. So I'm going to hold shift and the middle mouse button to pan, and I'm going to press, let me move my mouse here so I've got from here to pull. So I'm going to press shift E, and as I start to pull, what you're going to see is that selection color of orange is going to start to turn a purplish. And pay attention to the mean crease as I pull. See how it's going up? The more I pull, the more you see that purplish color coming up. And I'm pulling it all the way until it's 1. So 1 is maximum mean crease. Now, depending on how close this is to 1, or you could look at it as 100% mean crease, is how hard these edges are. So with a mean crease of 1, it's 100% hard. If you wanted the this area to be a little bit softer, not totally hard, you can just decrease the mean crease, and you can decrease it by pressing Shift E and pushing and pulling with your mouse, or you can just adjust it right here. Okay, I'm going to roll the mouse wheel back. I'm actually going to press A to deselect. I'm going to press Z to go to wireframe. I'm going to hold Control and the right mouse button. I'm going to draw a loop around all of these unused items. I'm going to press X to bring up the delete menu, and then choose faces to delete all of those items. I'm going to press Z to go back to solid mode. Now I'm going to press A to select everything in our mesh. Okay, with everything selected on our mesh, we're going to go to the modifier menu, which looks like a wrench here. We're going to click here. I'm going to move this to the side. We're going to select subdivision surface. I'm going to move this back over here. I'm going to press N to take away this properties panel. We're also going to click here so it looks like the subdivision surface is applied. We'll click 2 for the views, and then we're going to also press Z while everything's selected and choose shade smooth. So now I'm going to press A to deselect, and I'm going to go into object mode so you basically can see what's going on. So I'm going to roll in, and I'm going to hold shift and the middle mouse button to pan. Okay, when you look here, you can see that for most part this looks soft. This looks a little bit harder, but you can see it still looks like it has some softness on there. Now I told you guys when you put the mean crease on there that this would be hard. Well, I click here and I go to shade flat. You can see this looks totally hard. However, you come into an issue where you see, these different faces, so you need the shade smooth for that. So when I click here and I go to shade smooth, now you have this softness. So it's like, oh, how do we deal with that? Well, it's not actually that difficult. What you do is just click here and move this down a little bit. You apply this edge split. And now you can see with edge split, we have the softness of that shade smooth here, but yet we have the hardness of our, mean creases and everything here, which is exactly what we want. Okay, now with that done, what we're going to do is go to our subdivision surface modifier, turn the view down to 1. We're going to apply our mirror modifier by clicking apply right here. We're going to click to go into edit mode. If this purple color annoys you that shows the mean creases, you can press N to bring up your properties menu, scroll down, and where you see it says mesh display, if you unclick creases, now you don't have to deal with that anymore. I'm going to press N to take away that properties panel. Okay, now I'm going to hold shift and the middle mouse button to pan. I'm going to hover my mouse right here. I'm going to press A to select everything, A to deselect everything just to make sure nothing's selected. I'm going to press L to select right here. I'm going to press shift D. Left click to lock in to duplicate this right here. I'm going to take my mouse and pull this up. I'll hold the middle mouse button and turn. Okay, I'm going to press S to scale on the X axis. Left click to lock in. I'm going to press A to deselect there. I'm going to hover my mouse here and press L. Well, hover it over here. I'm going to press shift D. Left click to lock in to duplicate. Pull this up to the side. Then I'm going to press R to rotate on the X axis. Press shift D to duplicate. Push this to the side. A to deselect. Okay, so what you're going to do now is hold your middle mouse button to rotate. We're going to roll the mouse wheel to zoom in. With face select on, we're going to hold Alt, select this loop of faces right here. I'm going to temporarily turn off the subdivision surface modifier just by selecting that eye. With that ring selected, we're going to press shift D. Left click to lock in to duplicate it. Okay, then you're just going to take the manipulator and pull this up. You're going to press E to extrude to create new geometry. Left click to lock in. You're going to pull straight up. That. Then going to press L on this new piece of geometry. You're going to press shift D to duplicate here. Left click to lock in. And then drag straight up. You're now going to press shift D yet again. Left click to lock in. Drag straight up. I'm going to roll my mouse wheel to zoom back. And now we're going to roll the mouse wheel to zoom in. We're going to hold shift and the middle mouse button to pan. Roll the mouse wheel to zoom in again. Shift and the middle mouse button to pan yet again. Hold the middle mouse button to turn. And now we're going to do, we're going to press, hold down Alt, I should say. With face select on, we're going to select here. We're then going to press E to extrude, left click to lock in, pull this up, press S to scale, E to extrude. The Z-axis, you can see the preview line right there. S to scale in like this. Okay, now you're going to press A to deselect. I'm going to hold the middle mouse button to turn. We're going to go to Edge Select. Hold Alt. Select here. Press F to fill. Left click to lock in. I'm going to go to Face Select and select here again. I'm going to press E to extrude. Left click to lock in. S to scale. Holding Shift and middle mouse button to pan. I'm going to press E to extrude again. S to scale. I'm going to press E to extrude again. Left to lock in. Push down slightly. E to extrude again. Left click to lock in. S to scale. And then E to extrude again. Left click to lock in, and then just pull this up slightly here. I'm now going to press A to deselect. I'm going to press Control R for right here to put a loop cut in. I'm going to left click to lock in. Left click again to totally lock in. I'm going to go to Vertex Select. I'm going to select right here. I'm going to, with this vertex selected, push down some like that. This vertex I'm going to select, pull up some like that. Then I'm going to go to Face Select. I'm going to hold Shift and select all of these faces here. I'm going to press E to extrude, left click to lock in, S to scale. I'm going to press S to scale a little bit more, left click to lock in. I'm going to press E to extrude again, left click to lock in. Take this back a little bit further. I'm going to press S to scale in just a little bit more. Okay, what we're going to do now is press A to deselect. We're going to select right here, hold Shift, hold the middle mouse button just to turn to the side to get more of a 3D view. I press E to extrude, push this out slightly, press S to scale, left click to lock in, push this out a little bit more. Now I'm going to press A to deselect, press L to select this whole helmet cockpit area. I'm going to lift this up. I'm going to press S to scale to shrink it down a little. I'm going to hold Shift and middle mouse button. I'm just trying to get a better view of right here. I'm going to press A to deselect. I'm going to, with Face Select on, I'm going to select right here. Just roll with the mouse wheel and hold the middle mouse button to turn. Okay, now I'm going to press E to extrude, left click to lock in. I'm going to pull this up some. I'm going to press S to scale, like that. Okay, I'm going to press A to deselect. I'm going to hold my mouse over here. I'm going to press L. Push this forward a little. Press A to deselect. Okay, now we're just going to make some few changes. I'm going to press L, select here. I'm going to press S to scale on the X-axis. Press S to scale on no axis. What I'm going to do is press A to deselect there. I'm going to hover my mouse wheel over here. I'm going to press L. I'm going to press X to bring up the delete menu. Select faces to delete the faces there. I'm going to press Shift C to put the cursor directly in the center. I'm going to select front. We're in front ortho view now. I'm going to change the pivot point from Blender's default pivot point, which is medium point, to the 3D cursor. I'm now going to hover my mouse over this arm piece. I'm going to press L. I'm going to press Shift D to duplicate it. I move the piece just so I know it's duplicated. I'm going to right click so it jumps right back. And I'm going to press S to scale on the X axis, -1. left click to lock in. Then I'm going to press Control N to recalculate the normals there. Okay, I'm going to press A to deselect there. I'm going to hover my mouse here. I'm going to press L. I'm going to press S to scale here. This. Push this up just slightly. Roll with the middle mouse button to zoom in. I'm going to hold Shift and the middle mouse button to pan. With face select on, I'm going to select right here. And this top face is there. I'm going to hold the middle mouse button to turn the view. I'm going to press X, bring over our delete menu, select faces to deselect. Select faces to delete the faces there. I'm going to press L to select this entire piece. See this strange shading? I'm going to press Control N to, whoops, did it work? Control N to recalculate the normals. In that case it did. Let me try grabbing just them. Pressing Control N, still didn't work. I'm going to press W and then flip normals, and that worked. Okay, now what I'm going to do is go to Edge Select. I'm going to select here, hold Shift, select here, whoops. Here, press F to fill. I'm going to select here. Just looking at the shade and making sure that it's good. Select here, press F to fill. Okay, now we're going to press A to deselect. We're going to zoom back. We're going to click here, switch to the Blender's Cycles renderer. Change my CPU to GPU. I have an NVIDIA 630 series, I think, so I can switch to GPU. And what we're going to do here is just apply some materials. So I'm going to zoom back. I'm going to hover my mouse here. I'm going to pull to the side. The reason why I'm doing this is because I'm going to use this view as a rendered view. Cycles. Let me change this back to the median point. Generally, cycles tends to make everything, almost everything, look better, in my opinion. So the reason why we're here is to put some materials on here. I split the view so that this can be a real-time view and this can be a work view. Because you'll see when you're in real time, you don't see all of your tools. So you just look here and then maneuver here. Okay, to activate the Cycles renderer, we can either click here and go to rendered, or we can press Shift Z for a shortcut. And this looks like this now because there's no light. So what we're going to do is click here, go to object mode, right click here, wherever your 3D cursor is at. Objects tend to come in to where your 3D cursor is at. You're going to press Shift A, bring in a plane, press S to scale. Okay, what you're going to do with this plane selected is you're going to go to your materials, you're going to select new. You're going to change the material on the plane from diffuse to emission. I'm going to press S to scale to make this a little bit bigger. Left click to lock in. I'm now going to press Shift A to bring in another plane. I'm going to take the manipulator and push it down. I'm going to press S to scale. And the reason why you want to put a ground plane in is because the light in Cycles acts very realistically, and basically it helps to have the light bounce. You know, the light comes from here and then it bounces off the ground and, you know, comes up. If you look here and you're like, it looks kind of grainy, it's because the sampling I have it set at now. The higher your samples, the better and clearer your image tends to look. Here's the sample's only at 10 right now, which is very low, as a matter of fact. Even now, turn the samples up to 100. You can see when you raise the samples, you can see it. Blender automatically, as soon as you change the setting, you know, tries to, or doesn't try, it actually does, you know, increase the clearness and raises the samples up to where you set it at. Okay, so what we're going to do now is select our mech. We're going to go to materials. We're going to select new. We're going to change this diffuse to mix shader. Now we're going to select this first shader here. We're going to change this to glossy. We're going to go to the second shader. We're going to change this to diffuse. And basically we're going to select our color. And I'll zoom in so we can get a look at what's going on here. And basically we can control how glossy this is by this factor here. If we increase this factor, more diffuse will come in. You can see it's getting bluer and bluer. If we take it down, it'll be less of the diffuse color and more glossiness. Okay, so now what we want to do, we're going to zoom in here. We're going to click here to go into edit mode. Very similar to like we did before. We're going to select most of our hard pieces. So we're going to press L. And I'm just moving the mouse and pressing L. Shifting the mouse button to pan. I'm going to hover my mouse here, make this window a little bit smaller there. Press T here to take away that window. Pressing L. Okay, and that's all I'm doing is just moving my mouse, hovering, and pressing L. Before for whatever reason, I only knew about Control L. Actually, people tried to tell me. They would see me select the vertice doing things like this. I would select the vertice, then go to Control L, and they would say, "Hey, LA, you know, you can just press L." It seemed like whenever I tried to just press L, it didn't work, and finally I tried it. It worked. Why it wasn't working for me, I don't know. But it is lovely for selecting things, especially in situations like this. And I'm just holding shift and the middle mouse button to pan. That's our plane there that you see popping into view. Still just pressing L. Holding the middle mouse button to turn. Holding shift and the middle mouse button to pan the view. Oh, see one right there. L. Holding shift and the middle mouse button to pan. Just moving my mouse and pressing L. Actually zoom in here. I can see some missed things here. I saved, that's why the render turned off, but we don't need it for now. I'll turn it back on in a moment. More than a moment, but in a limited period of time anyway. Is that most of it? Okay, so now with that all selected, what we're going to do is we're in the material panel. We're going to scroll up. We're going to click this plus right here. So here's the material. Here's another plus right here. We're not clicking this plus. We're clicking the plus all the way to the right and up. So we click here. Now we click new. Now we go to diffuse and we choose mix shader. We go to the first shader and we choose glossy. We change this to sharp. The second shader, we're going to go to diffuse. And now we're going to turn the factor down to about 1.45. And now we'll click assign. Remember to click assign or you won't see your materials pop in. Now we're going to press Shift Z. And there you can see the materials applied. Now one of the things with this that's cool is once you have your basic shape in, like we have, and see this right here, how bland it looks, like there's nothing there. Watch this, how quickly we can add detail in, because most of the work is done. So we'll press A to deselect. We're going to hover our mouse wheel here. We're going to press Control R for loop cut. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Left click to lock in. Left click to totally lock in. We're going to press A to deselect. We're going to press Control R. 1. I'm rolling the mouse. That's what I'm counting. That's 2, 3, 4. Left click to lock in. Left click to totally lock in. Now I'm going to go to face select. I'm going to hold down shift. I'm going to select here. That's like basically I'm selecting every other face. Wait a second. Okay, so we're going to press E to extrude, left click to lock in. And we just pull up slightly. And just like that, fairly easily to get, some more detail in. We can do the same thing here. We'll hit A, we'll hit Control R. Do 4 loop cuts, 1, or that's, yeah. Is that 1 or 2? I'm confused now. Okay, that's 1, roll, then 2, then 3, 4. Left click to lock in, left click to totally lock in. Press A to deselect, press Control R. Okay, so Control R was the first one, then it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Left click to lock in, left click to totally lock in. Go to face select. Same type of deal. We'll select every other face. I'm holding shift as I select these phases. I'm going to press E to extrude. Left click to lock in, and then just pull up. And you look, if you look right here, you can see, just some detail. I mean, there's a lot of little quick things you can do. I mean, you can add in more shapes. As we've gone through this, you could see, how we copied shapes and, pushed and pulled them around. I mean, you have the basic shape now, so you can just, add and, play and generally have fun with your model now. Okay, now one of the things you should be aware of is that we don't currently have the subdivision surface on. So if you click here, turn this eye on, you can see what it looks like with the subdivision surface. And to get this smooth, to get these sharp, what you would have to do is select here, just like we did before, and you would press Shift E and pull the mean crease out. But I actually like it better without the subdivision surface. So if you don't want the subdivision surface on, what you can do is the eye temporarily turns it off. You can click here and that will delete the modifier. So somebody might say, well, you went through all that stuff showing the subdivision surface. Yeah, it's still good to know. I actually like the hard look. I mean, it is a robot. I thought, the subdivision surface would contrast more, but I like the hardness of it without it. So, okay, what we're going to do now is we're going to hold shift and the middle mouse button to pan. We're just about done. We're just going to select right here. I'm going to roll the middle mouse button to zoom in. I'm going to hold shift and the middle mouse button to pan. I'm going to select these faces here. Okay, so now we're just going to go to our materials tab. We're going to select here. Then we're going to select new. We're going to stay with diffuse this time. We're going to go to color. And we're just going to select down in here to change the color that's already selected to a grayish color. And we're then going to hit assign. You won't see it here at first. We have to press Shift Z to go out, Shift Z to come back. At least that's how I do it. And now you can see that the gray color is applied to the visor area here. Okay guys, that's it for the tutorial. For all of those of you out there who like the videos on this channel and reshare them, thank you very much. I greatly appreciate it. And to those of you who are new to this channel, if you like the videos on this channel and you would like to see more, please subscribe. Also, I now have a support button on my home page, and if you would like to support this channel by a donation of any amount, it would be greatly appreciated. And as always guys, thanks for viewing.